All right, let's see what we got going on now. I'm supposed to be telling you an Indian story. So, I got to get into my Indian story mode of thinking. So, let me have a quick sip of my tea. I forgot how to say it in Dakota. Not Pejuta Shapa, that's coffee. Mm. Mm. Ah. In Chinese, this is called Juhuacha. Some kind of flower tea. It's so good, especially for my parched throat. Now, as you know, we're getting close to spring. The weather is warming up, so this is going to be my last story for this term until the weather starts to get cold again. So if you get stuck with me in another Native American class, culture, literature, whatever, next semester in the fall, you'll start hearing me tell in more Indian stories. But never mind. This is the story that comes from my tribe, and a bunch of other tribes also have the same story in different variations. It's called the Pleiades, where the Pleiades come from. Let's see if I can tell the story properly. Now, keep in mind, it's been a while, and I kind of have to just tell the story the best I can. So I'm looking a little bit at my notes here as well. I don't know why, because the story's etched into my soul. Long, long, long time ago, Indian time, there were 7 little girls. They were sisters. I like how AI drew them here. Of course, they gave them weird looking faces and they're kind of rubbed off, but that's okay. 7 little girls who lived in the village up north of here, in Canada more than likely. And they lived in the old days. In the old days, there were a lot more magic or spiritual happenings, sacred things, supernatural things that happened in the world. And in this case, there were these 7 little girls, and they were living in the village with the people. And they used to call the village Kanata, which got some Suyepi came along and mistranslated it and turned it into the name of an entire country, Canada. But in the little Kanata where the people lived, they were very traditional, you see. They followed sacred tradition to a T, and there's some taboos and special traditions that you don't break. And these little girls got so sick of hearing their elders talk about this all the time. They'd always tell you,
You gotta make sure that you let the elders eat first. The elders are supposed to eat first, and then you get to eat your meal.
and the girls, oh man, and they'd get all huffy and puffy about it. And they'd tell her, let me see some other examples here. It says here,
When an elder is speaking, you never interrupt. You girls be quiet and let the old people talk. Oh, man.
how about this one? It says here,
You got to stop eating so many berries and fruits. You got to remember to save a little teeny tiny bit for the little people. Because if you don't, the little people are going to be upset and they're going to bring bad things around. Or they're going to steal stuff from us. Oh, Ma!
and they'd say,
We don't believe in that old-fashioned stuff.
and they used to get really mad about it. And so the little girls went out one evening, and they were going to hang out, and they're going to dance together. They wanted to just get away from all those fuddy-duddy old people. So they went out into the forest and found a clearing. This is kind of weird how AI drew them with uniforms, almost like Catholic schoolgirls. But never mind. They were out, and they decided they were going to have fun, and they were going to play and dance, and that's what they did. I love this one. That's another AI drawing. Of course, AI never does very well with hands, but we can forgive AI for that and keep going. So the little girls go out to the forest clearing, and they go out dancing, and they're singing. And I got to put down this because the last time I did it, I had my microphone and drum in the same hand, and it sounded awful. Here we go. Here's the song. they're dancing, and they're having a good time. But of course, you know, the old people, the parents would say,
You guys knock off all that racket. This is the wrong time. It's getting dark out there. You're going to bring bad things on yourself. This is against our tradition.
and the girl said,
We don't believe in that old-fashioned stuff.
and they kept singing. So, they kept singing and dancing and having a good old time. This looks weird. It almost makes them look like they're from India. I see it messed up. It's supposed to be, I don't know, she has her hands like this, but her hand's missing, or maybe that's one hand and the other hand's off the screen. But they're singing and dancing, and they're ignoring the old people. The old people say,
It's getting dark. You can't stand out there and sit, dance and sing.
and they would say,
We don't believe in that old-fashioned stuff.
and they would sing,
Bunny, bunny, one day was our day.
holding hands and dancing around. And as they danced, suddenly they started to glow. They started to glow, and little sparkles all around. AI turned them into weird-looking dancing girls there. I don't know what that's all about, but they're supposed to be little girls. These look like teenagers. Never mind, keep going. There they look like cute little dolls, Cupid dolls, but I like how they're doing the hand-holding thing. That was a thing amongst our people, where you would cross arms like that. It's really cool, and sometimes we do it, the lovers dance, which we call the rabbit dance. We do it behind our backs. It was really cool. Anyway, they were dancing and singing, and suddenly they began to rise off the ground. They started to float up into the sky, and their skin and their dresses started to sparkle, and it started to rise, and they didn't care. They kept dancing. Bunny, 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 what's up with the head? And they danced around and around and around and around. That was from ChatGPT. ChatGPT did a pretty good job there. Look at how they're turning. They're starting to sparkle. And they rose up higher and higher. And this is something I just snarfed off the internet. They turned into the Pleiades. And they're stuck, singing and dancing forever. Some might call it a curse. Some might call it a blessing. I'll leave that for you to decide. And that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Thank you so much for bearing with me. You guys have an awesome rest of the day, and I'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Wow, 9 minutes and 3 seconds.